Hello and welcome back to my channel. My name is Danielle. For those of you who do not know me, hi, welcome. I'm so glad you stopped by today. Today we are going to be ranking, or I am going to be ranking 12 of my rainbow eyeshadow palettes I have here in my collection. I am super excited to do this. I think I have about 20 or 21 rainbow palettes. I know it's ridiculous and I keep buying them and I keep saying I'm not going to, but I love rainbow palettes. They are some of my favorite palettes to own and to have in my collection, and so we're going to rank 12 of them today. I thought ranking 20 of them might be a little too excessive and could not narrow this down to 10. So without further ado, we're going to go ahead and jump in and talk about my rainbow palettes. And yes, I realize that it's kind of crazy that I have a more neutral look on today. I was just kind of feeling neutral makeup today while talking about rainbow palettes. I don't know. It was just kind of a choice. So I'm going to go ahead and show you the palettes, and then I'm going to put them in an order off camera. That way we can talk about them and it's kind of my gut reaction to each palette. So the first palette I chose is the I Don't Believe in Humans palette by Makeup by Chey, and this is what it looks like. Then I have the Sephora Pro. Yes, mine have Mandalorian stickers on them. I am okay with that. It's my makeup. I can do what I want with it. This is the Editorial Palette, and it looks like this. I'm going to try not to blind you guys with all of the mirrors today. Then I have my matte palette by Carrie Cosmetics. It looks like this. I have the Hacienda palette by Blush Tribe. That beauty looks like this. I have the Bright Lights palette by Pinky Rose Cosmetics. Then I have the Makeup Revolution and Alexis Stone palette. So many shades in this palette. And then I have the BH Cosmetics Take Me Back to Brazil palette. Looks like this. I have the Sugar Pill Fun Size Mini Color palette. I have the Laila palette by Blush Tribe. It looks like this. I have the E.L.F. and JKissa palette. Yes, I put the stickers on it. I couldn't help it. You give me puppy stickers, I'm gonna use the stickers. It looks like this. Then I have the Makeup Revolution and Tammi Tropical Carnival palette. It looks like this. And finally, I have my Violet Voss, the Rainbow Eyeshadow Palette, and it looks like this. Really quick, before I pop off camera to go through and organize these, I did want to let you know I will not be swatching any shades out of these. As you guys saw, a lot of these have so many shades. I wish I could spend all day just kind of swatching and playing with makeup, but I just don't have the time. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to list and link many of these palettes I've used on my channel, so I'm going to list their videos down in the description box if you would like to check out swatches or anything like that in those videos. So that is what I'm going to do. I originally had thought maybe I'll swatch my favorite shades and realized that this video is already going to be long because I'm going to be talking about my favorite type of eyeshadow palettes, rainbow palettes. So really quick, I'm going to go ahead and pop off camera. I'm going to organize these from my least favorite to my absolute favorite. Now with that being said, me ranking something as a least favorite in this video does not mean that I don't still love it, that I don't still cherish it in my collection. It just means out of all of these palettes that I have one that I really love compared to the ones that I may not absolutely love. So I'm gonna go ahead and organize these and I will be right back.
2,000 years later.
Okay, so I'm back. I've organized all of my palettes and have decided which one's going to be in the 12th place all the way to my first place ranked palette. So we're gonna go ahead and jump into that. The palette that found itself in the 12th position is my Makeup Revolution Alexis Stone palette. I have used this, I'm gonna be honest, about 5 times. Every time I look at it, I think it's absolutely beautiful. A lot of the mattes work really well from what I've used. My favorite row is that gray to black row. I absolutely love that. I like to play with that gradient on my eyes. It's a lot of fun for a good smoky eye. But the row that I wish worked a little bit better, and maybe I need to play with it a little bit more, is this kind of yellow row. I would really love to kind of have those work a little bit better on the eyes. I also don't like that this one is 100% a matte palette. I do like to have some shimmers to play with, and I don't always like to pull in another palette, but with that being said, it does give me time to kind of use my single shadows and things like that. This is also just not one of my absolute favorite palettes. I got it for Christmas one year, and I don't gravitate towards it as much as maybe somebody who would think I would, especially with it being a rainbow palette with so many gradients of the similar colors. And that is why it has found itself in the 12th place. Number 11 is the Layla palette by Blush Tribe. Don't get me wrong, I do absolutely love this palette, but it kind of has a similar reason to the Alexis Stone palette. It is just a lot of mattes. And I am getting to the point where I'm starting to really like shimmers a lot more than mattes. And when I first purchased this palette, it was definitely because I was more into mattes than I was shimmers, and I was always looking for good mattes, and now I'm looking for like stellar shimmers. It's just funny how our makeup taste changed over time, and how something that we never thought we would love, that we love, and things like that. So this one really kind of finds itself there just because it is an all matte palette. It's still an absolutely beautiful palette. It still works really, really well, and I'm happy to have this Blush Tribe palette in my collection. The 10th place palette is the Sugar Pill Mini Fun Size Mini Color Palette. It looks like this. This really found itself here, and I kept toying with if I should have made this one 12th place, just because I don't think that this lives up to the hype of Sugar Pill. Ever since I got on YouTube, I have heard how amazing Sugar Pill's eyeshadows are, how fantastic they are. This is a gorgeous palette. It works, but it did not live up to my expectations of the hype of Sugar Pill, and that's really why this one found itself in 12th place, or in 10th place, and almost in 12th place. It's not. And it's beautiful and it works really well, and I like that it's a pastel rainbow palette. I just wish it had more of the oomph I've heard about Sugar Pill eyeshadows. The 9th place palette is the BH Cosmetics Take Me Back to Brazil palette. This thing was so hyped when it first came out. I remember seeing videos about this palette everywhere. It was such a fun palette at the time, and not many brands were coming out with rainbow palettes, so this was a pretty big deal when it came out. The thing that I don't like is that the shimmers are more like satins than anything in this palette. They're not quite as shimmery or as reflective as I want in shimmers now. The mattes are a little more dry, and it could just be that I've had this in my collection for several years now. It's probably been about 2.5 years now that I've had this in my collection. I also don't like this row. I can't stand this bottom row. It drives me crazy. I just wish they would have gotten rid of it and made these pans a little bit bigger. That's my other gripe with it. The pans just, I can't always fit all my eyeshadow brushes in it the way I'd want to. I don't know. I like a medium size pan size. Like, let's just take this. These are just a little bit bigger than these, and I wish that the ones in here were more the size of this, I guess is what I'm saying. And that's kind of why this one has found itself in 9th place. The 8th place is the E.L.F. and JKissa To The Rescue palette. I wanted to love this palette so much more than I do. I like the shimmers in this. I just find that the mattes are not that great. They're not as pigmented as I wanted them to be. I do like this is set up where you can do kind of monochromatic eye looks and things like that. didn't have the oomph I look for and the strong pigmentation that I look for in an eyeshadow palette, or especially a colorful eyeshadow palette. And that was just kind of my problem with this one. It's still beautiful. It's still something I want to reach for in my collection and kind of play around with more. I have definitely used this purple or this orange row, the purple row, the blue. I've played with it here and there ever since I got it, and I was very, very excited to make this part of my collection when it came out. The 7th place palette goes to my Tammi X Revolution Tropical Carnival palette. It looks like this. I love some of the mattes in here so much. This shimmer, some people really love it. I can't get along with Calypso. I don't know what my deal is with this shade. You would think I would gravitate towards it, but when I put it on my eye, it's just kind of a letdown. Some of the other shades in here are a little bit of a letdown. They're not as pigmented or as oomph as you want them. I kind of wish they did not stick this bronze in here. I don't really use it. It's not a shadow I reach for that often. The purple shades, these two shimmers are absolutely stunning. This green is stunning. I like the black in here. It's a nice buildable black, and that's kind of what I want when I'm going to deepen a look up. But I would say that some of these shades could have a little more oomph or a little more impact. It's not a bad palette by any means. It works really, really well, and for the price point, it is a really, really decent palette. It's just not my absolute favorite rainbow palette, and that is why this one has found itself in 7th place. The next 6 palettes in my collection are the top 6. These are some of my absolute favorite rainbow palettes in my entire makeup collection, in my entire rainbow palette collection. So we're going to go ahead and talk about them. And I think you'll be surprised at which one I picked as my number 1, just kind of based off the palettes that I have left. So the 6th place palette is my Violet Voss The Rainbow Eyeshadow Palette. I love this thing. I love it, I love it, I love it. I can remember when I picked it up, my ex-husband and I were in Sephora because he needed something from Sephora. And I saw this and I was like, you know what, I'm gonna pick it up, and I did, and I'm glad I did, because while this is not, I would not call this a traditional rainbow palette, it has some of my most favorite shimmer shades. I love Seafoam and Fiji. I've used them several times here on my channel. This gold kind of yellow buttercup is absolutely gorgeous. I've used Pearl. I haven't really used the black shade in this. I don't tend to use black mattes with shimmer in them. They're not my favorite. I would just like a matte with no glitter in it. Why is that so hard? Or I wish they would have done like an actual like true red in this palette, because I think that would have been absolutely gorgeous with this formula. I do really like this, and I think that sometimes Violet Voss does not get the hype that it deserves, because the Violet Voss palettes I have in my collection I absolutely love, and I would be willing to try more from Violet Voss. And that is why this beauty found itself in 6th place. My 5th place eyeshadow palette, and I'm going to be honest, I kept toying with putting this one lower, and we'll talk about that. It is the Bright Lights by Pinky Rose. You guys know, if you've been with me for a while, I absolutely hate the glitter in this palette. I cannot stand it. But the mattes are amazing, and even the 2 shimmer shades in here are really good. So that is why this one really finds itself in 5th place, is because these mattes are amazing, and this is one of my favorite really truly bright rainbow palettes in my collection. Every time I think about this palette, I get excited about the mattes. I need to play with it more. I used to play with it all the time. It used to be what I would wear on my eyes for like weeks, and now it's not something I completely gravitate towards. I absolutely do love the shade selection in this, and while it might not be the truest rainbow palette, it is still a rainbow palette to me, and I'm very happy to put this one in 5th place. The next palette I have here is by Makeup by Chey. This is the I Don't Believe in Humans eyeshadow palette, and I recently did a 3 looks 1 palette with this video that will be listed and linked down below. I love this palette, and I was very pleasantly surprised, and that's why this one is in 4th place. The quality of this is really good. I just wish that this yellow was a little bit more pigmented and that the shimmers had a little bit more of a pop to them. That's kind of the only thing. The mattes in this are absolutely gorgeous for the most part. I really did enjoy the looks that I was able to create with this, and the overall quality, as I said, is pretty good. This is also why this one is not, it's not my favorite quality, and that's why it's not in the top 3, but it made its way to the top 6. This silver is one of my favorite silvers in my entire collection. So yes, I scratched it. What did I scratch it on? I don't even, oh, I found it. My nail has purple in it now. Whatever. I always enter at least one of my eyeshadow palettes during these videos. But I do absolutely love this palette, and if you have not tried this brand, I highly recommend giving them a try. I have not tried any of their glitters yet. I want to, but I'm just kind of, I'm a little iffy because some of the palettes that they have out just really don't kind of fit my vibe, but I do like this one a lot. 3! That's exciting. This next one is my Sephora Pro Editorial Palette. And again, yes, I stuck Mandalorian stickers on it because Baby Yoda is my favorite thing ever. And this palette looks like this. Mine is well loved and abused. I got this palette for Christmas one year from my grandmother, and it has been an absolute favorite. I really do like the performance of this palette. I know not everyone does. I've seen kind of some mixed reviews on this, but I absolutely love it. I love these transformer shades on top. I love the mattes in this. The shimmers are absolutely gorgeous, and I feel like you can come up with some really creative looks with this palette. It's not like straight in your face rainbow, but it is so beautiful and so much fun to play with, and I'm overjoyed with the quality of these palettes because I now have 3 of the Sephora Pro palettes in my collection, and I do highly recommend them. And that is why this beauty found itself in 3rd place. Okay, 2nd place is my matte Carrie Cosmetics palette. I love this palette, you guys. I love it so much. It is an all matte rainbow palette. I used to play with this palette all the time on my channel. I have several get ready with me using this. I have several tutorials with this. I've done Halloween looks with this palette. I've done all kinds of things with this palette, and it holds a special place in my heart because it started my obsession with rainbow palettes. And it is really good quality for the price. If you have not tried anything from Carrie Cosmetics, I do highly recommend checking them out. I've looked at their site a few other times, and I keep wanting to purchase something, and then something else catches my eye from another brand, but I love this. The mattes are still pretty buttery in this palette. This yellow is very pigmented. Got the orange there. Let's swatch this pink. Oh, this kind of pinky purple. I don't know. I love this palette, and I need to play with it more. And if you guys would like to see me play with any of these palettes, leave that down in the comment section for me, just so I have a heads up of which palettes you guys would like to actually see me use, especially as I start up my retro review series again. But yes, this one is number 2, and it was very hard not to put this one as the top one, but I had to go with my gut when I was putting these in order and realized that it's been knocked down a peg. Let's talk about my all-time favorite rainbow palette out of the 12 that I picked. The number 1 spot is the Hacienda Palette by Blush Tribe, and I really wish that Blush Tribe was still a brand and that you could still get this palette. I know that the owner now runs My Alley Beauty, and I do want to try a palette from there at some point. This is what the Hacienda palette looks like. I love this rainbow palette. I love the shimmers in here. They're absolutely gorgeous. This green shimmer, oh, it has my heart. It is so, so pretty. I love the quality. Blush Tribe has never really steered me wrong in terms of quality. I like that this one has different tones as far as rainbow palettes, not your typical primary colors, and I really do like that about it. I love playing with this palette. It is one of my absolute favorites. And if any of you guys have a channel and you have this palette and you want to do a face-off, leave a comment down below, because this girl right here would love to use this palette. But the shimmers are such good quality in this palette. The mattes are buttery smooth. Like, oh, so good. Just so good. They're very pigmented. I like the way they perform on my eyes. Blush Tribe shadows for me have always blended out really, really well, and that's why I really like them. Some of them are more pressed pigment, so they're a little drier, and then some of them are super, super creamy, but either way, they blend out really, really well. So, #1 spot right here. Well, you guys will have to let me know. Would you have put any of these in a different order? Have you tried any of these palettes and you think, gosh, I would have put that one lower, or I would have put that one higher? Leave that in the comment section down below. I'd be happy to hear your reasoning or how you would rank your own rainbow palettes. Or if you've done a video similar to this one, ranking your rainbow palettes, leave that in the comment section down below so that I can check it out. Well, thank you guys so much for watching this video. I do hope that you enjoyed it. Please give it a like, subscribe to my channel if you have not already. Leave a comment down below so that we can chat, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye!